All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Taylor Kanost here. Severe weather update for you as we head to the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. We had that first round of storms roll through the Midlands. Ended up with one severe thunderstorm warning in Clarendon and eastern Orangeburg counties out of that storm. But that cluster of storms has shifted east of us. Round two right on its heels and already beginning to impact the western Midlands. And that is where we have an active severe thunderstorm warning that's in place until 8:15 this evening. This includes the southwest portions of Newberry County, a little bit of Newberry included in that, the western half of Saluda County included in this warning as well. This warning box is connected with a separate warning that covers much of Greenwood County. And again, this warning in effect until 8:15 this evening. The main threat with this storm system is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. There may be some small hail in it. And notice the threat tag here of a tornado possible. There has been at least some broad rotation with this cluster of storms over the past hour. Nothing that is alarming enough to upgrade this to a tornado warning at this time, but the Weather Service and us meteorologists here at Skywatch Weather Team are at least watching that possibility for something to spin up. There appears to be at least some broad rotation within this storm, so it's definitely worth closely keeping an eye on. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this storm. It's likely going to be pretty impactful as it moves out of Greenwood County and into Saluda and Newberry counties here pretty soon. Starting to get some of that heavy rain now near the Chapels area right now. This is going to be crossing into Saluda County pretty soon. And as it does that, packing a punch for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, a possibility along with that low threat for a tornado or two. So there's a glimpse of it. Again, covering much of Greenwood County right now. This is moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So as we do that, you'll see that it's going to continue to have that potential for some damaging straight line wind. Let me go ahead and pan back over here and we will put a timeline on this. Right around there. And again, moving due east at about 45 miles per hour. So that's going to put it in Saluda around 8:14, about 13 minutes from now. Batesburg, Leesville around 8:32 this evening. Chapin around 8:47. And then we're talking about the Lexington and Columbia Metro close to the top of the next hour. So this cluster of storms about 1 hour away from impacting the most populated areas. But in the meantime, it's likely going to cross over Lake Murray and surrounding communities. Again, Saluda, Batesburg, Leesville likely to be impacted by this storm system, and it will again pose that threat for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, some small hail, and a low threat for a tornado with this cluster as well. Elsewhere, we have dried out. We have some lingering rain in Clarendon County right now, but that severe storm that was there has since pushed east of your area. We've been dry the past hour or two in Columbia, but again, give it another hour and our next wave of rain and heavy downpours will be moving back into the city and impacting many of us across the central Midlands as well. With this cluster, damaging wind will be the primary threat, a low threat for hail, low threat for a tornado. One thing we're going to have to watch tonight is the threat for flash flooding. So I have that as a bit of a heightened threat. We've had a lot of rain recently. Our ground is saturated. We already had that round of rain earlier today, and there's potential that the storms that roll through not just this evening, but overnight tonight, train over the same areas. So basically follow a similar path and dump a lot of rain over areas that don't need more rain. So here's Future Watch and what we can expect the rest of the night tonight. That cluster of storms pushes eastward. In reality, I think Future Watch is a little bit behind what's going to happen, so take what you see here with a grain of salt. In fact, this cluster of storms will be in Columbia at around 9 o'clock, so you can kind of move that ahead a little bit. In Sumter, Bishopville, Camden, good chance you'll have storms closer to the 10 o'clock hour. And we'll continue to have that threat for storms through the rest of the evening. Even after midnight tonight, we could continue to have some scattered storms around parts of the Midlands. It may not be until late tonight that we get rid of the storms altogether, and all we have left tomorrow morning is just some lingering light rainfall. But in the meantime, it could be a busy night across the Midlands. The best chance at severe weather will be before midnight, but we could have continued threats for heavy downpours and lightning after that as well. And with that heavy rain moving through slowly, we will possibly add up some pretty heavy rain totals over the next few hours. I think there's a possibility that someone in the Midlands gets 2 to 3 inches of rain tonight alone. Again, that on top of our already saturated ground could lead to some flash flooding, especially the areas that typically flood. You might be in store for some of that overnight tonight. So make sure you have a way to receive those warning alerts, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or a flash flood warning. We want you all to be prepared in case the worst case scenario happens and you're stuck in a dangerous situation this evening or overnight tonight. Here's how much rain we have already received today. This is a radar estimate. Sumter, about 3/4 of an inch of rain, just shy of a ½ inch in Orangeburg. Varying amounts around Lexington and Columbia, but generally around a 1/4 inch of rain with that first round of storms that rolled through around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. Up in the northern Midlands, you kind of missed out on that first wave of storms for the most part. I think you'll have a good chance at least some rain overnight tonight. A good chance that everyone at one point or another gets some wet weather overnight tonight. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Here's another active night ahead of us. And again, that potential for severe weather is going to be there as well. One thing we'll be keeping an eye on is since we had that cluster of storms earlier this afternoon that may have knocked down the instability in the central Midlands. So as this cluster of storms moves eastward, it's possible that it will weaken as it approaches Columbia. That's what we're hoping for, but we can't guarantee it. The atmosphere has had a couple of hours to try to recover from that first round of storms. So it is possible that it has done that, and if that's the case, then these storms that are currently severe may remain severe as they push eastward. Again, we have that severe thunderstorm warning in place for Saluda and Newberry counties until 8:15, so another 9 minutes or so. And here's another look at the estimated time of arrival for this cluster of storms. It's moving east at about 45 miles per hour, so if you see your community there listed, that's the approximate arrival time for the possibility of damaging winds, at the very least some heavy rainfall and some lightning as well. I'm going to take you to Newberry County. The southwest corner of the county is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. Areas farther north, you're getting some rain, maybe even some heavy rain at times, but the potential for severe weather is farther to the south here. Newberry, you're probably not going to get the worst of this storm, but you will get some more rainfall. Let's take a look at what the wind is looking like in this storm right now. So this is something we call storm velocity. Green means that the rain is moving toward that radar sweep you see there located near Columbia. Red would be away from the radar. So all this is moving toward the radar as the storm moves that direction. What we can see here is we have these bright blue and almost white circles right around there. Another one right here. That's a sign of some stronger wind. So when I click on what it's estimating some intense wind there in eastern Greenwood County, over 70 miles per hour. So the radar is scanning that a few thousand feet above the ground, but it's possible that there are some intense winds making it to the ground, about to cross into northern Saluda County and perhaps far southern Newberry County as well. Another thing I'm noticing, again, there's been some broad rotation within this storm system here. I'm noticing at least some rotation right around there, just northwest of Higgins, east of Chapels right now, and southwest of Silver Street. Another way we can examine that is by looking at something we call shear, and it's showing that exact same thing, some broad rotation right there. It's not enough rotation to warrant a tornado warning, but these things can escalate pretty quickly, so we definitely keep a close eye on it whenever we get at least signs of some rotation, and certainly some rotation there. Looks like there may be a little bit down here as well. I would say the main concern continues to be that threat for strong straight line winds just about to move into north parts of Saluda County. So this in particular is the area of concern. Let me zoom out here. That's not correct. Let's zoom out. So moving east at about 45 miles per hour. So get ready in Higgins for some intense wind. It's possible it hits Prosperity, but probably stays just south of there. Chapin could be a close call. Again, we're not sure if this is going to maintain its intensity as it moves east, but it could. Starts impacting the Lexington and Columbia metros close to 9 o'clock this evening in about 50 minutes or so. So that's where we stand right now as far as the severe weather threat is concerned. I would not be surprised if we get additional warnings out ahead of this pretty soon. If you are just hopping on here, let me show you the warning that's currently in effect. So that one, so these are essentially the same warning, just issued by two different offices. They're both going to expire at 8:15. They cover southern portions of Newberry County, western half of Saluda County, northern part of Edgefield County as well. 60-mile-per-hour wind is the main threat with this. We could also have some small hail. It does look like they removed the tornado possible tag from this, so that's a good sign. Having said that, there is still some broad rotation out there, so don't let your guard too down as far as that's concerned. Not strong enough to warrant a tornado warning, but there is at least some broad, elevated rotation within the storm. The main concern continues to be the threat for strong straight line winds. There are a couple of pockets of the strongest winds right here, highlighted in white or blue. Radar estimating roughly 65-mile-per-hour winds there, moving into northwest Saluda County right now. Farther south here in northern Edgefield County, maybe closer to 55 miles per hour or so. By the way, you can ignore that negative sign out in front of it. That's just a way to kind of differentiate between the wind moving toward the radar and moving away from it. Bottom line is 50 to 60, possibly even a little stronger mile-per-hour winds moving in that direction of Saluda County right now. It's possible that wind will clip southern Newberry County, but in the immediate threat here is going to be Saluda County, along, of course, with the heavy downpours and occasional lightning. It actually looks like the worst of the lightning's moving through southern Newberry County right now, so you may be hearing some rumbles of thunder in Newberry pretty soon. Broader view shows we are quiet elsewhere for the time being, getting a break from the rain in most of the Midlands. What came through earlier was round one. This right here is round two. Let me walk through Future Watch again in case you're just hopping on. What we have here on Future Watch is a little bit behind reality, but it gives you a rough idea. So this cluster will drift eastward. I think it'll be in Lexington by 9 o'clock. Columbia maybe just after 9 o'clock. The storms are expected to expand in coverage, may track over similar areas late this evening and even after midnight. I do think the best chance at severe weather will be between now and midnight, but we could have continued downpours and some lightning late in the night before things really start to wind down late. Now, we could have some lingering light showers tomorrow morning, but severe threat's going to be long gone at that point, and we should be done with the thunderstorms at that point as well. So our main concern is going to be damaging straight line wind. If we get those storms to train over the same areas, then we're looking at the possibility of some flash flooding as well, considering we have very saturated ground due to all the wet weather we have had recently. I'd imagine we're going to get a new severe thunderstorm warning here pretty soon. We'll see whether the Weather Service decides to extend that out to. My best guess is it's going to cover up to about Columbia. So we'll see how close I am on that. But again, get ready in that general highlighted area. Wouldn't be shocked if a new warning's coming out there sooner than later. This current warning is about to expire. Let's see. Got a report out of McCormick County of trees down at the intersection of US 221 and Eden Hall Road, roughly 7:38, about a half hour ago. So that's when this storm pushed through there earlier. So the storm officially has a history of damage. And there is our new warning, folks. Let's take a closer look. All right, so they've done a few things here. All right, so here's our new warning. It includes several counties: Lexington, the western side of Lexington County, pretty much all of Saluda County, southern half of Newberry County, a sliver of Fairfield County, a sliver of Richland County. This in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible with this. They have returned that tornado possible tag that I was talking about a few minutes ago. So they're seeing that there is at least enough rotation on there that warrants that mention of a possible tornado here. But the main concern is going to be the strong straight line winds likely moving through northern Saluda County at this moment. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect until 9 o'clock for several counties just west of Columbia and Lexington. This storm is moving east at 35 miles per hour, so it's slowed down a little bit. So let me go ahead and put an updated track here. So if we do that time. All right, so there's your updated times. Again, a little bit slower than what I had a minute ago. Saluda, it's going to be there any moment. You may be experiencing some gusty winds now. Prosperity, it's going to be in your area, at least the worst of the storm at 8:29. You're starting to, of course, see some rain right now. Batesburg, Leesville, your time has been pushed back a little bit to 8:47. Gilbert, 8:59. Lexington now out to 9:11. Columbia, probably closer to 9:20 or 9:30 arrival time for you right there. So let me go and post this on social media real quick. I'm seeing some pictures online of this storm has a pretty nasty shelf cloud. Goodness, this is a very photogenic storm. You might see some scary looking clouds as this rolls through. All right. I'm going to hop back on the wall here. Just bear with me. I'm doing a couple things off camera here for a minute. So, of course, this area was hit pretty hard by the storms on Saturday. Unfortunately, we have another threat for damaging wind gusts here that could knock down power lines and trees. That is the main concern, is possibility of more power outages due to this cluster of storms here. So this warning in effect until 9 o'clock this evening does include most of Lake Murray, most of Saluda County, southern half of Newberry County, western portions of Lexington County. Columbia not in this warning just yet. We'll cross our fingers that this storm weakens as it moves east, and that is possible, but not guaranteed. Let's get back to it here and take a look at what the velocity is showing. And once again, we have northern portions of Saluda County likely experiencing the strongest of the wind. That is where damaging wind would be most likely with this storm. As far as the tornado threat, it's not particularly high. There are some locations here being highlighted with those little blue dots with some modest rotation. It's not anything strong enough to warrant a tornado warning, but we do look for reds and greens that are close together, and there is at least broad rotation right there. There may be some broad rotation right here as well. What you're going to see if you are kind of peeking out the window, maybe you're in Batesburg, Leesville, or Saluda looking west, you're probably going to see this big wall of clouds. That's what we call a shelf cloud, and that is a sign of some strong straight line winds. Just saw some pictures online of it. It's an impressive shelf cloud. So, hey, wouldn't knock you if you wanted to get a quick picture before that passed you by, but make sure you do get inside before the storm does arrive. It's a very pretty storm moving through, but also a dangerous one that we need to take seriously, and that's why the warning continues to be in place until 9 o'clock this evening. Again, damaging straight line wind, main threat. There may be some small hail in this. Let me go take a look and see if that is the case. Not really seeing any sign of that, so that's good. Let's go back to the Doppler. This again is moving east at about 35 miles per hour. Rough update on the timeline here. Again, this is not going to be exact, but it's our best approximation. Prosperity arrival time 8:29, Little Mountain 8:41, Batesburg, Leesville 8:46, Irmo 9:06, Lexington 9:11. Heavy rain and pretty frequent lightning are the minimum that you're going to see. What you could also see is some strong wind, and that's what we're most concerned about. Damaging wind was a big problem on Saturday. In fact, I'm going to check real quick to see how many power outages are still in effect across South Carolina. There's still 4,600 customers without power, and I think that's from mainly Saturday's storms. I know Saluda County was hit hard. It looks like all their power is back. There's about 1,000 customers in Richland County without power. Goodness, that's going on a couple days now. Hopefully we don't see those numbers rise too much. But would not be surprised if we did have some of that. All right, so far we have reports of some trees down back in McCormick County from this storm, so it does have a history of producing some damage as it moves eastward. I want to take a broader look here what's going on, and what we're going to see happen tonight is all those storms in central Georgia. Yeah, that's all coming our way too. Now those have a lower chance of being severe, but that's coming our way, and that means we could have a wet night ahead of us, at least the next several hours. So what we have moving through right now is our best chance at severe weather, but all those storms back here south of Atlanta, that's all going to drift to the east, northeast, probably moving across the southern Midlands tonight. So there's potential for some heavy rain. This is just what one model is forecasting for rain between now and 7 a.m. over the next 11 hours. There could be a swath of 2 to 3 inches of rainfall somewhere in the Midlands. And that would be enough to cause at least some minor flash flooding. We've had quite a bit of rain recently, so your typical areas that flood, that's going to be susceptible to more of that as we head through the night tonight. So if you live in a home that tends to get water to pond around, or maybe you're susceptible to flooding, just be aware that you might see some local creeks rise. Low-lying areas may flood overnight tonight due to this next round of rainfall. Keeping an eye on the south side here. There's been some just broad rotation here. It's been somewhat consistent. Not enough to warrant a warning, or a tornado warning at least, but it is there. And I'm telling you, this storm has some very good structure on it, a very photogenic look to it. That is for sure. Of course, it's getting dark out soon, so you're not going to be able to see it much longer. But just a couple storm chasers out and about are getting a good look at it right now. Time right now is 8:24. You're watching our Skywatch weather coverage. If you're watching on Facebook or even YouTube, sometimes the stream can get delayed a little bit. I want you all to just be aware that you're up to date. You might need to refresh your screen, or if you're watching on a computer, refresh your browser just to get the updated imagery. I want to make sure you have the latest info at a timely manner as well. So 8:25 right now. We're tracking the severe thunderstorm warning in place until 9 o'clock for several counties, including a sliver of Richland County, but primarily the western half of Lexington County, most of Saluda County, southern Newberry County, far southwest Fairfield County as well. There's the latest track. Prosperity, it's going to be there any moment. The worst of the storm, at least. Batesburg, Leesville still looks like roughly around 8:46. Gilbert around 8:59. Lexington 9:11. Red Bank 9:13. It'll be in Columbia shortly after that. So a little, just about an hour or so, maybe a little less than that before this arrives in Columbia. What we're hoping for is this to weaken as it moves east. So far, it hasn't really shown much of a sign of that. Yeah, we still have some strong winds here. Let's get a radar estimate of a few spots. Estimating 62 miles per hour. 62 there as well. I'm going to click on a couple more spots. 65. All right, so you get the idea. About 55 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts near Higgins right now, near Denny, moving into the west side of Lake Murray right now. This part of the storm in particular is the greatest concern. So community of Climax, Hilton, Irmo, Montgomery, those are your rough timelines as it will track right across Lake Murray here within the next 30 minutes or so. And likely going to cause some damage there, unfortunately. All right, back to the radar. I'm going to put a loop on here just to give you an idea of where all this is all moving. Pushing eastward at 35 miles per hour. Gusts between 65 miles per hour, or around 65 miles per hour, currently being estimated by the radar in northern Saluda County, heading for Lake Murray. And it will be in Lake Murray within the next 10 to 15 minutes. If you live in one of those lakeside communities around Lake Murray, go ahead and get inside. You might have a good show of the clouds moving in, and you might be impressed by what you see. So that should be warning enough for you to get indoors. But in case you're not paying attention and looking outside, and have me on your phone or on your computer, Yeah, that storm's coming, and it's going to pack a punch. We could have power outages due to this storm moving through. The severe weather threat will continue as this cluster of storms races across the area. Once this moves out, we should be done with the severe threat for the night, but we will continue to have storms move through the Midlands overnight because there's a lot more back in Georgia that are expected to move our way. There's another check of our future watch model. Looks like we got a new run in. Unfortunately, it's not showing correctly exactly what's going on here, so we got to take it with a grain of salt, but we'll show it anyways. It paints that general idea that storms will be slow to clear out of here. Drifts gradually to the southern Midlands. You might be dealing with rain for a while down south. Eventually, once we get to tomorrow morning, I think we are done with the storms, but some showers may linger for your morning drive tomorrow. And that model continues to show the possibility where you see the red on the map, that would be 2 to 3 inches of rain possible. And I think we'll have a couple pockets where that could develop, and that's where that flash flood threat comes into play as well. This will be our third straight day of severe thunderstorm warnings in Columbia if this continues. We had a warning late yesterday morning, that nasty storm that rolled through Saturday night, and of course what we have going on here right now. We were prepared for an active stretch, and this has lived up to it so far, and unfortunately there's could be a lot more coming our way. Let me pop up future watch for the next few days here while we're waiting for this storm to move in. All right. So tomorrow, I actually don't expect it to be too busy. Lingering rain in the morning. A few storms, late day storms possible, developing along the cold front, kind of where they are right now. Should kind of fizzle out as they push east, but can't completely rule out a severe storm or two tomorrow. Heading into Wednesday, it's going to be the sea breeze that kicks up most of the activity close to the coast. Some of that might make the eastern or southeast Midlands. But there's a good chance. I think Wednesday is probably our best chance at staying dry this week. Moving ahead to Thursday, that's when we will have coverage start to expand a little bit Thursday afternoon. So chances of showers and storms should pick back up at that point. But again, if you're hoping for dry weather, I think tomorrow or Wednesday is probably your best bet because the chances look pretty high as we head toward the weekend, which of course is Father's Day weekend. Sorry, dads, it's not going to rain the whole time, but there will be storms in the area that we'll have to watch out for this weekend. Back to right now, we have this severe thunderstorm warning in place until 9 o'clock this evening. It includes Lexington, Saluda, Newberry, Richland, Fairfield counties. It's all for this cluster of storms right here that pose the threat for damaging straight line wind at least to 60 miles per hour. Our radar is estimating where you see that light green and that blue, it could be even stronger than 60 miles per hour. 64 is the latest update for one of those pixels there. And I'm just kind of clicking on the map and getting a rough estimate. Looks like we just got a new scan in. Yeah, 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts possible right there. So that's over State Highway 194. There's State Highway 391. So Stony Hill community just south of Prosperity. It's moving east toward Lake Murray right now. So far the worst of this is missing I-26 to the south and just north of Highway 378. There could very well be some strong winds along 378 as well, but the worst of the wind is just north of the highway there. If you all watching on our live streams, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, the Skywatch weather app, on WACH.com. Feel free to leave any questions, and I'd be happy to answer them. I've got those pulled up here off camera. That's why I'm spending most of my time off camera, just to make sure I'm keeping an eye on everything. All right, so this warning has been updated. Looks like the western half of Saluda County has been removed from the warning. The worst of this storm has passed you by. Western portions of Newberry County are no longer in the warning either, but it does continue until 9 o'clock for southern Newberry County, eastern Saluda County, western Lexington County, far western portions of Richland County, far southwest portions of Fairfield County. This does not include in Columbia yet, but if this maintains its strength, which it's looking like it's going to, we could be looking at arrival time within the hour for this storm system in Columbia and most of the surrounding Columbia metro. It's moving east at about 35 miles per hour. Here's the latest timeline. Batesburg, Leesville, arrival time 8:45, Lexington 9:10, Red Bank 9:13. The center of Columbia 9:21, or 9:29 rather. West side maybe a little bit sooner. East side a little bit later than that, but you get the idea. Close to 9:30 is when this will impact Columbia. Damaging straight line wind, heavy rainfall, occasional lightning are the main threats with this storm here. And it's especially just north of Highway 378 where the strongest of the wind continues to move through. Radar estimating the area highlighted in that light green, that light blue is over 60-mile-per-hour winds right now. And it's pretty close to the radar over there near the airport. So we're getting a good look at this storm. It's not like we're examining it way high in the sky. So this is a pretty good estimate of what is being felt at ground level in northeast Saluda County at this moment. And this is headed straight for Lake Murray. Again, if you live along Lake Murray, especially the west side of the lake, get ready. Strong winds coming your way. If you know anyone that's out on the lake, which you know it's getting dark, so they probably shouldn't be out there, but let them know to get in because nasty storms coming that way. Irmo, it's possible that this cluster of strong wind could be coming your way in about 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. Yeah, it's moving almost due east. So be prepared in Irmo and Lexington. Chapin, it looks like the worst of the storm's going to miss you to the south, but you could get some heavy rainfall, some gusty winds. So go ahead and head inside because you are in this warning until at least 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's dead set for Columbia, this cluster of storms. So I don't see any way that we're really going to avoid it in Columbia. We'll at least get something here in the city before too long. I'm going to look at some cameras right here real quick to see if we can get a visual. All right, I'm pulling up the I-26 near Chapin. Unfortunately, most of these DOT cameras are pointed toward the ground, so we're not going to be able to get too much of a view, but maybe we'll see something. All right, that camera's down. I-26 in Newberry County. I think it's the eastern edge of the county. Can't make out much there. Doesn't look like the rain has arrived just yet. It's probably going to be there very soon, though. All right, let's check out a couple more cameras, and then we'll get back to the radar. Not much going on in Lexington yet. All right. Yeah, like I said, most of those are pointing to the ground, as they should be since they're DOT cameras. So, all right, let's get back to the radar. Severe thunderstorm warning continues until 9 o'clock this evening for several counties. The worst of the storm is moving through eastern Saluda County and southeast Newberry County right now. It is very close to crossing over into Lexington County. And the main threat here is going to be those damaging straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour. Radar is estimating the strongest of those winds is over northeast Saluda County and about to move over Lake Murray. This right here is where the strongest of the wind is right now. That is tracking pretty much due east, so it's going to track right over Lake Murray, then could impact Irmo, maybe Lexington within the next 30 minutes or so. When we talk about a severe thunderstorm warning and those type of winds, we're talking about the potential for damage to power lines, damage to trees. We saw a lot of that on Saturday evening in Saluda and Lexington County. So unfortunately, it's a bit of deja vu with this system. Hopefully it's not as bad as that Saturday storm, but there could be some damage with this, that's for sure. The threat for tornadoes has decreased. For those curious, not really much of a sign of rotation here at this point. The only area I'm even remotely concerned about would be right there. But even then, it's nothing serious or imminent, so don't be alarmed. I'd certainly let you know if that changes, but for the time being, it's modest rotation. And this storm has shown some modest rotation here recently, or over the past couple of hours, but nothing tight enough to warrant a tornado warning from the National Weather Service. As far as hail is concerned, we're not too worried about that, honestly. It's that time of the year where hail is hard to come by. It's mainly damaging wind season here in the Midlands. This warning continues until 9 o'clock. This system moving to the east at about 35 miles per hour. Another track, and I suspect it's not going to look too different from what I had last time, but in case you're just hopping on, here is the latest. Batesburg, Leesville, it's going to be there within 5 minutes. This track has held up pretty well. Irmo, 9:02. Lexington, 9:10. Columbia, right around 9:30. Pontiac, 9:34. Heavy rainfall, lightning, and of course the damaging wind are all going to be threats with this thunderstorm moving through the area. Now behind it, we have additional storms that are not severe, but could just bring more heavy rain, could increase the threat for flooding. We have additional storms behind that, additional showers at least. And that's going to lead to a rainy night for some of you, especially in the central and southern Midlands. Could be looking at quite a bit of rainfall between now and tomorrow morning. The latest on Future Watch keeps storms around for a while. Now, I think this main cluster of storms moving through is likely going to be our lone severe threat. We could have additional thunderstorms stick around even past midnight, but I don't think we'll have severe weather after midnight as we kind of get the atmosphere worked over by these storms. That's going to kind of wipe out the instability we would need for more severe storms. Nonetheless, rain, heavy downpours at times could stick around most of the night tonight, at least somewhere in our area. Again, if you are looking to the west sky, you might see some ominous clouds. What you might be seeing is called a shelf cloud, which is a sign of some strong straight-line winds. Some people confuse a shelf cloud with a wall cloud, but it kind of looks like it has layers to it almost sometimes, and that's why they call it a shelf cloud. That's a sign of the leading gust front of a storm, or the leading edge. So once that passes over you, you're probably going to start experiencing the gusty winds shortly after that. Oh goodness, okay. Let's see here. Not sure if this is a radar error or what. Okay. I think we got some pretty intense winds here, and there might be a color scale issue there. I'm still thinking at least 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are happening here just north of Highway 378 right now, west side of Lake Murray. I would not recommend traveling on 378 west of Lexington. There's going to be some gusty winds along that as this moves into Lexington County. I think the worst of this storm is going to track near or just north of Highway 378 and make its way toward Lexington. So Lexington, I know you had a rough night a couple nights ago, but get ready again, because we could have some strong winds coming your way here sooner than later. Again, a rough arrival time is going to be in about 20 minutes for the worst of this storm to make it your way. Keeping an eye here on a little rotation just south of Chapin. It's looking a little bit more ominous. South side of Chapin. Something rotating there a little bit. No word from the Weather Service on whether they're too concerned about that yet. Yeah, our rotation's kind of picking up on that too. So we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do. There's at least some rotation there on the south side of Chapin right now. There's our latest scan, still kind of showing that. It's still somewhat broad, but it's there. That's approaching I-26 right now. I'm going to go back to our traffic cameras real quick. See if we can see anything. Well, there's the rain. Goodness, coming down. Yep, so that's what it looks like inside the storm. Sheets of rain coming down on I-26 right now in Newberry County. Not too far away from there up the road. That camera is down, unfortunately. All right, so yeah, you got the idea. It's coming down, and it's coming for Lexington and Columbia here pretty soon. Batesburg, Leesville. Looks like the storm is moving into town right now, right on schedule. Those of you in Saluda with another round of heavy rain moving through, what's moving through your city right now is not severe. It is more heavy rain that could result in ponding on the road, so just be advised. And here we go. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 9:30 for the entire Columbia Metro. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts along with the tornado possible tag here. All right, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to break into programming on TV here shortly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute my mic for a moment until we get that squared away. So I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, I'll copy in. Hang on. All right.
Well, hold on.
Sorry.
Oh, we have a tornado warning, so we're going long form. All right, folks watching on the stream, looks like we have a tornado warning just issued, so stand by. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Taylor Kanost. We have a couple new warnings just issued. We are going to break into your programming for a little while here as we have a tornado warning just issued for Chapin and areas nearby until 9:15 this evening. Areas of rotation on the southeast side of Chapin at this very moment. So if you live near Chapin or in Irmo, you are in this tornado warning. I want you to get into the lowest level of your home away from windows as soon as possible and ride this storm out. So let's get a close look here at what we're seeing. This just issued moments ago, and it's again right near Chapin here, right where you see that hook shape. That's where we have a tornado warning and a possible tornado developing. We have nothing confirmed from the National Weather Service, but what we have is tight enough rotation on the radar right near I-26 on the east side of Chapin and near Ballantine, and it's moving to the east here pretty quickly. So if you live anywhere around those locations on the map in the tornado warning, again, you need to be in the lowest level of your home, away from windows, and let the storm pass by. Let's see here. So just reading the details from the National Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Dreher Island State Park, or 9 miles northwest of Highway 6 at Lake Murray Dam, moving east slowly. It says at 5 miles per hour. Let me get a closer look at that. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but general idea is rotation located right there where you see that bright red next to the green. That's where we have rotation ongoing right over I-26. Slowly drifting eastward toward Ballantine. Irmo, you are in this tornado warning. If you live in Irmo, get into your tornado shelter. That's going to be the lowest level of your home, away from windows as the storm passes by. The Bookman community on the eastern edge of this warning as well. So time right now, 8:52. This warning in effect until 9:15 this evening. Go back to the Doppler radar, and it's right around here where we have at least some rotation that's developed. At the very least, some strong straight line winds possible with this storm. And this is a cluster of storms that's had a history of producing damage in the western Midlands and continues to pose that threat as it moves towards the Columbia metro. We have this severe thunderstorm warning right here that includes Columbia. That just issued. That will be in effect until 9:30 this evening. So even if there is no tornado threat any longer or shortly after this warning expires, this entire cluster of storms is going to pose a threat for damaging straight line wind up to 60 miles per hour. I'll put a track on this. This is drifting to the east at about 35 miles per hour or so. So here is the latest timeline. Again, Irmo, it's close by. You need to be in your shelter right now in Chapin and in Irmo or anywhere in between those two communities. Lexington, arrival time is going to be in about 10 minutes, 9:06 p.m. Columbia between 9:20 and 9:30. Over to Pontiac around 9:32. Hopkins a little bit later closer to 950. So a dangerous cluster of storms that's developed in the western Midlands here recently. And now we're getting at least some signs that there is some rotation within this cluster of strong winds and this strong storm system. Let's zoom back into the tornado warning. If you're just hopping on here, just joining us on Watch Fox, we are on television with live coverage as well as on WACH.com. We are streaming on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. Search Watch Fox there if you need to step away from the TV. Area of rotation located just east of Chapin at the moment, drifting slowly to the east. It's close to Ballantine right now, right over the I-26 corridor. And at the very least, we have some strong wind, but we may have a threat for a tornado right around there as well. As you can see here, this is our rotation product. It's highlighting that threat for a tornado, again, right close to I-26. Dangerous time to be there at this moment. What I'm going to do is step off cam and pull up one of our I-26 cameras close to that location. You can get a glimpse of what we're seeing out there. Of course, with it getting dark out, it's going to be tough to get a great view of what's going on, but we'll see what that is showing us if it still has power. There's the view right now. Unfortunately, there are some travelers there. Hopefully they're aware of the situation. If you are on the roads around here right now, best piece of advice is to get off the roads as soon as possible and find a sturdy structure to take shelter in. Maybe a gas station, maybe there's a local convenience store nearby of some sort. That's going to be your best option. I don't want you to be traveling in this tornado warning if at all possible. So if you can find an exit, get into some sort of sturdy structure, fast food restaurant, something like that, that's going to be safer than traveling on the roads in this situation, because there is at least some rotation right over I-26 at this moment that has triggered this tornado warning, and we have signs of tight rotation. The warning has been updated. Good news for many of you. If you're in Irmo, you have been removed from the tornado warning. So that was a quick update from the Weather Service, but I think a smart one. Irmo, everyone in Irmo, you are no longer in the tornado warning. You still are in the tornado warning from the east side of Chapin, the north side of Ballantine, to the west side of the Bookman area. So let's zoom in on some roads here to give you a better idea. White Rock, you're still in this tornado warning. Looks like much of that Highway 176 corridor, portions of I-26. Kennerly Road, still in this tornado warning as well. Old Tama Road. And there's the Saluda River right there. So basically between I-26 and the Saluda River, we continue to have this warning. And we continue to have tight rotation. There it is. Just to the east of Chapin, looks like the area of rotation has crossed over I-26 and is now located on the north side of I-26 and is drifting slowly to the east. This tornado warning, or this area of rotation, is not going to impact the city of Columbia. Columbia, you are not in the tornado warning. But our neighbors just to the northwest of the city are, so we want to make sure they are all aware of the situation. So rotation right here, just north of White Rock, slowly drifting to the east-northeast. This warning in effect until 9:15 this evening, so we are going to stay on air until this warning expires. So I apologize for interrupting your programming, but we want to make sure all of our neighbors here in the Midlands are safe as this warning continues. I will say the rotation looks to have broadened out just a little bit recently, so hopefully they can cancel the warning as that trend continues. But for the time being, there is still at least some threat for a tornado north of White Rock, pushing to the northeast. It looks like really this area right here is where there may be some ongoing rotation. Farther to the south, I do want to point out that even if you're not in the tornado warning, there is still a threat for damaging straight line winds, especially right here. The radar has been estimating where you see that light green 60 to 65 mile per hour wind speeds that are heading toward Lexington, near and just north of Highway 378, near Lake Murray right now. So even if you are not in the tornado warning, you are in a severe thunderstorm warning across pretty much the entire Columbia and Lexington metro due to a threat for damaging straight line winds. We had a nasty storm roll through this exact same area 2 nights ago. on Saturday. And unfortunately, we could be looking at more power outages, more trees knocked down due to this threatening storm. So it's unfortunately going to be another rough night for many of us in the Midlands due to this cluster of storms impacting many of us. Here's Columbia right here. Irmo, get ready for some strong wind, heavy rain moving into town very soon. Lexington, it's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes before this moves your direction. We're dealing with heavy rain and some lightning down toward Batesburg, Leesville as well. This warning, this severe thunderstorm warning, covers many counties from Richland to Lexington, southern Fairfield County, farther to the east here, a little bit of Kershaw County, including Elgin in that severe thunderstorm warning. As far as tornadoes, it's a very focused area between Chapin and just west of the Bookman community, north of Irmo. This warning in effect until 9:15, another 15 minutes or so. And we're going to zoom on in here. Here's where the warning is. Again, there's White Rock. I do think the area of rotation is northeast of White Rock at this point. And, well, there we have it. They have extended and issued a new tornado warning, this one until 9:30 for portions of Fairfield County and Richland County as well. Let me zoom off, get off camera here for a minute to get an update on what's going on with this one. There we go. Fairfield and Richland counties, extreme northern Richland counties in this tornado warning until 9:30 this evening. See. Thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Ballantine or 7 miles north of Irmo, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So some communities in this warning include the north side of Blythewood, just west of Ridgeway, Jennings, Ryan, just south of Winnsboro. So southern Fairfield County, extreme northern Richland County, including northern Blythewood. You are now under a tornado warning until 9:30 this evening. I will say at this point it looks like fairly broad rotation, but nonetheless rotation currently located right there, just north of Ballantine. Moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So we're going to zoom out so we can get a track on this. I'm going to zoom back in here. All right, there we go. All right, so here's a rough timeline of when the area of rotation is going to pass over some communities. Jennings, 9:15. Ryan around 9:25, Blythewood 9:36, and then moving out of the warning after that. So again, if you're in this tornado warning, then you would have received an emergency alert on your phone. That means it's time for you to get to the lowest level of your home and away from windows as this system passes on by. That's one of several warnings in effect. The initial tornado warning will expire at 9:15, but this new one will last until 9:30 this evening. And then we have this big polygon that covers the entire Columbia metro. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. That's in effect until 9:30 this evening. Damaging straight line wind up to 60 miles per hour possible for the entire area. And what we're concerned about here is where you see the light green here. This is right over Lake Murray right now. There is potential for some strong wind gusts here. Radar estimating roughly 45 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts where I clicked on the map there. Bit of a weakening sign with that cluster recently. That's good to see. Still could be some damage caused by that area. I still want you to be inside, away from windows as the storm moves your direction. All right, let's go back to the Doppler radar and back to the tornado warning. So this storm has shown kind of some consistent broad rotation recently, and then just over the past 15 minutes, it really started to tighten up over Chapin, has drifted northeast. Now we're talking just north of Irmo. far northern Richland, right near the Richland and Fairfield County line is where we have at least some broad rotation ongoing at this time. This is moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour, posing that threat for damaging straight line wind and a possible tornado there as well. Put another track on this as it drifts to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Jennings, this area of rotation getting close to you right now. Ridgeway, 938, north side of Blythewood close to that time as well. So those are just a few of the communities that could be impacted possibly by a tornado. We don't have any confirmation from the National Weather Service that there is a tornado on the ground. If we had confirmation, then this polygon would turn a pink color and we'd call it a confirmed tornado warning. But we have rotation on the radar and enough evidence to warrant a tornado warning. Again, that's in effect until 9:30 this evening. One way we can examine where the rotation is by looking at our velocity. Green is wind or rain moving toward the radar. Red is away from the radar. And when you have that close together and they're bright colors, that gives us a sign that there's some rotation, and that's what we've been seeing on the radar picture recently. We have another kind of algorithm within our radar that can examine that as well, and it's highlighting kind of up and down this stretch here, but I think in particular it's right here that it's been most concerning. I will say the signs of rotation have been weakening a little bit recently. Let me move back about 10 minutes ago when it was near Chapin. That was quite a bit more ominous looking. You see that light blue, it's a sign of a bit stronger rotation. There may have been a tornado touchdown there. The rotation seems to have broadened out just a little bit since then. There is still at least some broad rotation, so it doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but it may not be quite as ominous as it once was. All right, so that's where we stand right now as far as the tornado warning is concerned. Let me put a track on this entire line because it is inching closer and closer to the Columbia Metro. Once again, we have a threat for damaging straight line wind with this entire storm. So here is our track moving east at about 35 miles per hour. So it's Lexington. I mean, it's pretty much there right now. Rain moving in right now, strong wind gusts possible. You're experiencing that in Irmo as well. Columbia, give it another 15 minutes for the center of the city to experience it. West Columbia, it's going to probably be another 5 minutes or so before you start experiencing some gusty winds. Pontiac, arrival of the strongest winds and heavy rain will be close to 9:30. Hopkins closer to 9:50, and then Camden close to the top of the next hour at 10 o'clock. Multiple threats with this. It's damaging straight line wind. We, of course, have the tornado threat on the north side of Richland County and southern parts of Fairfield County. One other thing I haven't mentioned yet is there is a possibility of flash flooding because we have numerous storms back behind this initial wave of storms here that could move our direction. You're seeing that in Saluda County right now. There's more out to the west there in Georgia that will be moving our way tonight. So we have a busy night ahead of us as far as storms are concerned, but the best chance at severe weather is really with this cluster moving through right now. There's no doubt about that. Zoom back in on the tornado warning. If we have rotation, it's going to be right around here, crossing over into southern Fairfield County at the moment. It'll be right around here. So it takes a minute to update, but you get the idea of where we have at least some rotation on the radar right now. It's going to be west of Highway 321, expected to cross Highway 321 here pretty soon as it moves northeast, roughly at 35 miles per hour. Definitely want you to be in your shelter if you live in the Jennings community. Area of rotation is going to be passing nearby you shortly. Ridgeway, it's going to be a little while longer. Much of Ridgeway not technically in the tornado warning. You're just outside of the polygon, but you get the idea. North side of Blythewood, you're kind of on the fringe here. It's most likely that the area of rotation passes just north of town, but it'll be close. Sometimes these paths deviate a little bit and don't always go in a straight line. So if you are in the tornado warning, I want you to be in your lowest level of your home and away from windows until the coast is all clear. Time right now is 9:08. You're watching Watch Fox's severe weather coverage as we have dangerous storms once again moving into the metro this evening. We have an active tornado warning for northern Richland, southern Fairfield counties until 9:30 this evening. This does not include the city of Columbia. It includes communities like Blythewood, Ridgeway, and rural parts of southwest and south central Fairfield County, as well as extreme northwest portions of Richland County. At about 8:50, we had signs of rotation near Chapin, crossing over I-26, and now it's approaching the Highway 321 corridor here. Portions of I-77 north of Blythewood are in this tornado warning as well. So if you know anyone that may be traveling in that direction, give them a heads up that, hey, we have a nasty storm coming. You want to get off the road. If there are any folks that are perhaps watching on their phone in a vehicle, trying to figure out what to do, best piece of advice, get off the road as soon as possible. Try to find maybe a gas station, fast food restaurant, something that's open. Will let you take shelter in there. I don't want you to be traveling in these storms, especially if you're in this tornado warning. It's just not a safe place to be during these situations. So if you can get into a sturdier structure, that's going to be your safest bet in times like this. All right, let's zoom out and get the bigger picture of what's going on, because storms are impacting Lexington right now. Irmo in the thick of it. This is pretty much on I-20 right now. Columbia, get ready. The storm is moving your way. I will say we have this bowing structure right here. That's typically a sign of some dangerous straight line winds. So that's going to impact the north side of the Columbia Metro. Talking about Killian Road, Farrow Road, a couple areas that will be impacted by this quite a bit. Moving toward eventually Lake Carolina as well. So that's the area in particular that could be impacted a lot by some damaging straight line wind with this storm system. It's no slouch farther south either, though. At the very least, you're going to get some heavy rain in Lexington, Columbia, on the south side of Columbia toward Hopkins as well. But everyone in the large polygon right here, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. That also in effect until 9:30 this evening. I'm going to check National Weather Service chat to see if we have any updates or reports. Nothing coming in at this time. So far, so good. If you're peeking outside at the storm in Columbia, man, you might have a view of a pretty impressive cloud. We call that a shelf cloud. It almost looks like it has stacks on it, like like pancakes or something like that. That's the shelves of the leading edge of this storm, and when that passes overhead, you're going to get some strong straight line winds coming your way shortly after. So that's a good sign to get to cover if you see that coming your way. All right, so basically everyone in this polygon, I want you to be inside right now. It's not a time to be kind of poking around and see what's going on with this storm. Especially if you're in the tornado warning. It does continue until 9:30 this evening for everyone highlighted in that polygon. Section of I-77 between Ridgeway and Blythewood under the tornado warning. Section of 321 just south of Winsboro. Jennings, you're in this as well. Let's see, we may have had an update to that severe thunderstorm warning. Let's take a look. All right, so the severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect until 9:30. Damaging straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour possible, could cause trees and power lines to be knocked down. Again, we had that situation just 2 days ago. The nasty storm that rolled through. Speaking of which, an update on power outages currently. We are up to 3,900 customers in Lexington County without power. About 700 customers in Saluda County without power. I would imagine there are some people that lost power on Saturday that may have lost it again. An unfortunate situation, but a side effect of the stormy time of the year and this really active, unsettled pattern we've had recently. We have several more chances for storms down the road, but we'll worry about that later. Right now, we have an active tornado warning. Continues until 9:30. This is area of broad rotation crossing over southern Fairfield County right now, generally moving toward Ridgeway. I continue to think that this doesn't have really any significant rotation on radar. Hopefully it maintains that, but I still want you all in the tornado warning to head to your shelter, lowest level of your home, away from windows. We did get an update on that warning. This one right here is going to expire in the next minute. This new warning has been trimmed down a little bit, but there is some rotation near Jennings right now. It's tracking to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So this is going to be a rough track here, but if you are watching in Ridgeway, you may not technically be in the tornado warning polygon right now. It's possible this will get extended. Wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and get into your lowest level of your house in a room that doesn't have any windows, bathroom, a closet. You can watch us on the Watch Fox News app. We're streaming live there. We're streaming live on the Watch Fox Facebook page and the Watch Fox YouTube page. So if you have to step away from your television, you do have multiple ways to continue to watch us to stay safe and informed during these times. If this area of rotation continues, it would arrive in Ridgeway approximately 9:37, maybe even a little sooner than that, closer to 9:30. So you got about 15 minutes before whatever rotation is there arrives your way. We still don't have confirmation that there is a tornado on the ground. This is all radar indicated, but we've continued to see at least some signs of rotation on the radar, enough to warrant the tornado warning that is now just for Fairfield County. Richland County is no longer in the tornado warning. All of Blythewood has been removed from the tornado warning. So you're safe in Blythewood. The worst of the storm, at least as far as the tornado threat, is going to avoid you. Now, having said that, there is a significant straight line wind threat with this storm as well. Let's zoom out and take a look at the Doppler radar picture, because right here is not good. What we have here is called a bow echo. Almost looks like, bow and arrow. This is a radar bowing out right now on the north side of Columbia right now. Certainly wouldn't be surprised to find that we get a lot of damage to trees and power lines right here between Columbia and Blythewood due to just straight line winds. And straight line winds may not be as strong as what a tornado would be, but they're going to be more widespread. This is covering a lot more ground than what a tornado would. So that is concerning. And this storm is now moving into Columbia proper at this moment. We're seeing the heavy rain moving to Lexington as well. This is a big time storm that's affecting a lot of people late tonight. I'm going to pop up a couple cameras to get a look outside at what's going on. I know it is dark, so we may not get the best view. But we're going to take a glimpse here real quick anyways. All right, so let's head over to I-20 at mile marker 71. So this is I-20 at North Main Street. Gusty winds should be arriving here very shortly, along with the heavy downpours. I want to then head back to Lexington here. I-20 at mile marker 55 in Lexington. Again, dark outside, a little tough to tell what's going on, but you get the idea. It is a stormy night out there across the metro. If you are just joining us, we have this tornado warning continuing until 9:30 for Fairfield County. Richland County no longer in the tornado warning. As far as rotation is concerned, area of broad rotation currently located and crossing over Highway 321 just south of Winnsboro, moving in the general direction of Ridgeway. We don't have confirmation of a tornado, but we have at least broad rotation, enough to warrant this tornado warning. This will expire at 9:30. We'll see if the Weather Service decides to extend this, but At the very least, we do have some strong straight line winds ongoing across Richland and Fairfield County up and down this line. Let me put a loop on this to show you what direction it's going next. Downtown Columbia, it's going to be a matter of minutes before this arrives. Lexington, you're in the thick of the heavy rain right now. Basically not a good time to be traveling on I-20. Pontiac, you're going to get smacked with this storm as well. Lake Carolina, Elgin. The worst of the storm, I think, is going to hit you head on here pretty soon. But Columbia, north side of town, getting hit hard at this very moment as well. Intense line of storms moving through at this very moment. Again, that bowing shape is never a good thing to see on the radar. That's a sign that you're going to get some strong straight line winds. If you're peeking outside, you might get a glimpse of this ominous cloud. It's called a shelf cloud, and that's a sign of some strong straight line wind. It's pretty much dead giveaway that you're going to get some damaging wind, and that's what we're seeing with this particular storm as it pushes eastward across Columbia and much of Richland and Lexington counties. We have 2 active warnings. A tornado warning continues for southern Fairfield County until 9:30, another 10 minutes. There it is right there. It's basically between Winnsboro and Blythewood right now. Broad rotation being detected on radar. No confirmation of a tornado. But if you live in this section of Fairfield County, remain in your shelter for another 10 minutes. If you live in Ridgeway, I want you to be in your shelter as well, just in case. Everyone else under this polygon here is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:30 as well. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, certainly a possibility with this storm. The most concerning part of the storm is going to be where you see this bowing shape right there. That's going to be where you have the worst of the straight line winds. That's all punching eastward here across the north side of Columbia and basically between Columbia and Blythewood, right along I-77, really getting hit hard right now. I'm going to pull up another camera here, I-77 at Wilson Boulevard. Likely in the thick of it right now. You see drivers with their flashers on, likely not enjoying the drive currently. Sheets of rain across the road. Difficult to make things out this time of the night, but you get the idea. Not a terribly fun time to be on the road at this hour with this storm moving on through. This is the main event for severe weather tonight. We will have additional storms, or at least some showers, move into the central and southern Midlands as all this activity in Georgia drifts our way. So it could be a rainy night. Let me give you a quick look at Future Watch for the rest of the night tonight. As you can see, it's got a good idea of that first wave of storms coming through. Additional rain and additional storms continue for much of the night tonight. As time wears on, that threat drifts southward. Might get some lingering rain into the early morning hours tomorrow, but the severe weather threat should be long gone at that point. We are looking at a potential for some flash flooding as well. There certainly could be some ponding on the roads at the very least, so be aware that that is all a possibility for us tonight. Back to the tornado warning continues for another 8 minutes until 9:30. And just continuing to observe and take a look at possibility of any rotation. Really, at this point, the rotation seems pretty broad. Could have some broad rotation right around there. But again, no reports of a tornado on the ground or anything like that. But adhere the warnings, please. If you're in the tornado warning polygon between Winnsboro and Blythewood, remain in your shelter for another 7 minutes. Everyone else in Columbia and Lexington, you're under the severe thunderstorm warning until 9:30, another 7 minutes as well. I would imagine this warning is going to be extended farther to the east as well before too long. I got a report of a tree on a house and power lines down on Broad River Road from the Columbia Fire Department. So there's your first report from inside the city. of some damage. Time right now is 9:23. You're watching Watch Fox's severe weather coverage. I'm Chief Meteorologist Taylor Kanost, continuing to track this active storm system. Another day of severe weather, our third straight day of a severe thunderstorm warning in Columbia. It also includes this tornado warning that is in effect until 9:30. Signs of broad rotation here, but nothing that suggests anything is ongoing as far as a tornado is concerned. Hopefully that trend continues. If there is broad rotation, it's going to be really on the leading edge here of this tornado polygon. So let me give you a look at what our radar is showing right now. And it's not highlighting much in the way of rotation at the moment. There could be some broad rotation ongoing right around here. We're also kind of at a tough angle for the radar to scan the velocity, so we got to take what we see on the radar with a grain of salt. What I think at the very least we have is some strong straight line wind moving across Fairfield County back toward Richland County as well. This is the leading edge of the rain and the wind affecting Blythewood, down toward Killian, heading toward Pontiac. Sandhill Shopping Center are going to get hit by this strong straight line wind as well. Dentsville, you're in the thick of it right now. Looks like downtown Columbia so far has missed the worst of this storm. There is some moderate to heavy rain falling there. There is additional heavy rain falling across the northern and western sides of the metro, including over Lexington, Red Bank, back toward Gilbert. There could be some damage from heavy rain and strong wind gusts there. So that's kind of what we're seeing across the metro right now, is numerous showers and storms moving across the area. But as far as the tornado threat, that is going to be confined to southern Fairfield County. So let's zoom on out and get another look at that. Again, this is area of concerns really kind of pushing near and just over I-77 right now between Winnsboro and Blythewood. I can put a track on this. Again, I don't see anything that suggests there is a tornado happening right now. And I really wouldn't be surprised if the tornado warning is not continued when we get this one to expire. But general area of rotation or possible rotation is pretty close to Ridgeway right now. Smallwood as well. Longtown, 945, Westville, we're talking about 1015, kind of moving out of our area after that. I really think the primary concern with this cluster of storms is going to be the damaging straight line wind and the potential for widespread power outages. I'm going to get another check of those power outages right now. Statewide, we're up to 8,300 without power. Lexington County is responsible for about half of that, 4,100 customers without power in Lexington County at the moment. It looks like we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's see if we can get that one to pop up. So it covers similar areas, but okay, this new warning in effect until 10:15 this evening. So basically, it's this entire line extended eastward into much of Kershaw County, a little bit of Sumter County, portions of Lee County as well. Same threats, damaging straight line wind up to 60 miles per hour possible with this particular line of storms. The most dangerous part of the storm currently highlighted on the map right here. You see the Boeing shape, Pontiac community, Blythewood, down toward Dentsville. This is likely where the strongest of the wind is occurring right now. So be prepared for power outages, be prepared for some trees to be knocked down. I would say after these storms roll through, not a good time to be driving around because there's going to be a lot of debris on the roads that we want the crews to have time to clean up before we wake up tomorrow morning. So just kind of hunker down for the rest of the night tonight if possible. Let the crews take care of everything that's gone wrong after these storms, whether it's power lines or trees knocked down. I have a feeling there's going to be quite a few of those due to this storm. This tornado warning is about to expire. We don't have any signs from the National Weather Service that they're going to extend this. If that is the case, we will wrap things up on television, but continue our coverage on our Watch Fox Facebook page and on our Watch Fox YouTube, as well as WACH.com. You can also watch our coverage on the Watch Fox News app. So numerous ways to watch as we continue to cover severe weather across the Midlands. Again, just looking at possible damage reports here. It does look like the Weather Service is going to expire this tornado warning. That is a good sign. So once we get the all clear here in just a moment, we'll be good to go in that regard. But definitely just hunker down as the storm system passes by. It's continuing to pose that threat for damaging wind, heavy rainfall. Flash flooding could be a concern for some of us as well. Just a lot of reasons to not be out and about tonight, that's for sure. Again, if you're just hopping on, that new severe thunderstorm warning that stretches into Sumter County, that continues until 10:15 this evening, not including Sumter, but it does include portions of Sumter, Lee counties, much of Kershaw County, pretty much the majority of Richland County, and back toward parts of Lexington County as well. Columbia, north side of town getting the heaviest rain right now. South side, you may not have seen a whole lot just yet. There's a cluster of storms there that's going to be heading your way pretty soon. All right, so the tornado warning has dropped in Fairfield County. You are free to get out of your tornado shelter, but I still want many of you that are in the line of these storms to remain indoors as it passes on by. We'll be streaming on our Facebook, YouTube pages, as well as on the Watch Fox News app and on WACH.com with continued coverage. For those of you watching on Watch Fox, we'll go ahead and send it back to regular programming and see you at the top of the hour at 10. All right, those of you watching on our streaming platforms, just give me 1 second. I'm going to take a drink of water. Been talking for a couple hours now. Again, we have this new severe thunderstorm warning in place until 10:15 this evening. For damaging straight line wind up to 60 miles per hour. I'm going to pull up some cameras around the area to see if we can get a glimpse of what's going on outside. If you have any reports to pass along, if you're watching on our YouTube stream or Facebook, feel free to share those with us. All right, so pulling up the I-20 camera in Camden here. And it's not working, so we'll try a different one. All right, I-20 at, well, a couple of these are down tonight. Of course, it's dark out. It's not going to help too much. All right, well, that's at least working. Raindrops on the lens there. Hard to make out what's going on, but you can kind of see ponding on the road there. Torrential downpours, difficult to see. Not a good time to be driving. There's North Main Street in Columbia. Rain continues to come on down. All right, so here's our situation. The most intense wind is likely going on right here. Again, that's what we call a bow echo. You're going to get a surge of strong winds right there. So that's currently impacting the northeast communities. We're talking Pontiac, Wildwood, over to Lake Carolina, Elgin. You're about to be impacted by this shortly. Let me get a radar estimate of what we're seeing with the wind speeds. Estimating roughly 40 to 50 mile per hour winds there. Back in Lexington, You got plenty of heavy rainfall. That's going to be ending shortly. Here's the loop of the last 30 minutes. This thing's been racing by. So the worst of the storm's going to be past you pretty soon. Southern Lexington County, you're going to have some rain lasting for a while here. That could cause some ponding on the road on I-20. It's going to be impacting I-26 here before too long. Farther to the west, we have even more rain coming, but this is going to be our main severe concern right here. All right, so we're actually starting to see a couple of bowing segments take shape here. Let's stop the loop. So we've had the one that's been ongoing, this right here. So you're going to get some strong winds right there. We've got a second one developing south side of Lexington. Heads up in Gaston. Could have some strong winds coming your way pretty soon. South Congaree area. Just notice how the radar is starting to bow out in that direction. That's where the winds can be enhanced a little bit. So even if you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning in Gaston, yeah, you might get a punch of strong wind here before too long. All right. Let's see what our peak wind gusts have been. Nothing too crazy there. Those of you watching elsewhere, Sumter, well, you know, let's go ahead and put a track on this for the next hour or so. It's a funky shaped storm, but here we go. It's moving east at about 35 miles per hour. Lugoff should be arriving in about 10 minutes. Camden, 9:54. Hopkins, your rain will be beginning shortly. A little bit heavier rain gets there around 10 o'clock. We get over to Lee County, Ashwood, and Bishopville closer to between 10:20 and 10:30. Sumter might be a little while, maybe closer to 11 o'clock before heavy rain gets in your area. Hopefully the severe threat starts winding down at that point. Here's the loop over the last hour. An interesting storm. The worst of it, again, is this bow. Right there, moving into Elgin right now. Moving toward Camden. You're going to get some strong straight line winds on that bow right there. So that's our main concern at the moment. In Columbia, here's what we're seeing right now. Heavy rain at the airport. Moderate rain across the entire city. Here's the loop over the past 30 minutes. Really, it's been the north side of town that's gotten the brunt of this so far. South side you haven't seen much yet, but it's coming soon. Casey, Springdale, heavy rain overhead right now. That's going to be moving across the south side of Columbia. So going to be busy times out there for the next 20 to 30 minutes in the city. Should see things quiet down a little bit after that. So that's where we stand right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the stream up and keep the radar rolling here. I'm going to get prepared for our 10 o'clock show. So what I'm going to do is mute my mic here for about 10 minutes. I'll hop back on, provide you an update at that time. But again, we'll keep the stream rolling and our radar up in the meantime.